How's it going, guys? It's of course Eclipse here, and today we absolutely cooked the enemy team with this Chinese vehicle. And of course this was one that I struggled to get my hands on. We did do a video recently on this vehicle, maybe about a week ago, maybe slightly longer, where we were grinding towards getting the 121, the tier 10 Chinese medium tank. But this one, the WZ-120, takes a little bit of getting used to, but when you do, it's very, very powerful, and hopefully it'll be an interesting one for you guys to see, as, you know, apparently I can't drive, trying to drive up a gigantic rock, obviously paying full attention to the game as we start off. But don't worry, that is not the start of every game that we're going in, and this one is of course on one of the newer / reintroduced maps, which is Scorpion Pass. And this one is a really interesting one that I really enjoy playing because they've expanded the map. It's a lot bigger, there's a lot more room for activities, and that's exactly what we're hoping to do, is get into position to try and deal with some of the tier 10s in the game and use the turret armor that this tank supposedly has, although you quickly find out it doesn't really have a whole lot of that. And with the 5 degrees of gun depression this tank gets, it's not particularly the easiest to use on a ridgeline, as you can see. Trying to go up against the T58 Heavy, it isn't going all too well. But what we're hoping is we can get a bit of damage on this FE4005. We poke him, the T58 Heavy had reversed, so there's no real threat from him. And so he's fired one. He's probably got maybe one left, but he appears like he's not actually going to poke anymore. He's probably on a reload. So at this point we can start making our way towards the little guys that are going to be sitting next to the cap circle. It's fine if we take one, maybe even 2 hits here, because if we can get into the position where you're seeing the 257 on our team get into, then hopefully we should be able to do a bit of work up here, since this offers a little bit more of a ability to hit some people. Now that guy definitely didn't actually sniper aim and manages to hit us with a little auto aim there. As he crests the ridge, it's fine. We can take a few hits in this game, especially if it means we can actually get a bit of early game damage. As you know, with most games, if you can get some early game damage, even if you're trading a little bit of hit points, it's usually pretty fine. But we are now in a bit of a weird situation where there's a Centurion who's of course cresting the ridge over to my right, but we also have a Batchat to the left, so we need to be careful of which one's going to be able to come and get us. But for some reason the Guard, or the Guardian STG, decides he's going to go and try and game on the Centurion, which I wouldn't recommend, as the Centurion has some pretty disgusting damage per minute. But I guess since he's going over there, we could probably try and help this guy out. And we put one into him. This tank has 440 alpha damage, which is quite nice. I'm trying to go for the ram on this guy, but unfortunately we have to waste another shell so far, bringing our total up to 1900 damage. But with this game being a tier 10, we can quickly lose 900 health really quite easily, especially if there's some high alpha TDs, and given that there was an FV4005 earlier, yeah, he is taken out, but there could be some others that are lurking around. But the Centurion AVRE, yet again a tank that can take us out in one shell, and he can probably pen us quite reliably in that vehicle, so we don't want to, you know, throw ourselves away. So we're going to stay a little bit passive here. There is a Barras that's managed to pull up from behind us, and we can start making our way towards him, because when you have the HE rounds that this tank has, can be quite nice. But of course you have to hit this guy, and he is pretty fast, so he could get around the side of us, and we don't want to lose a 700 to him, or 720 if we're going to be precise about it. But the WZ-120 is of course fairly fast, it's fairly mobile, and hopefully we'll be able to get a shot onto this guy. Now, elevation causing us a little bit of problems here. We can't actually look at this guy, which is always fun. But there's a light tank also making their way from behind us as well, so yeah, this is not fun. But we're going to go for the Barras. We've loaded a HE round here, and maybe we can get one into him, but in doing so the Barras basically gets farmed by one of our teammates, so there's no point in going for him. Let's go for this ELC even 90, or the Vanguard as it's actually called, and we hit him on the move. 570 damage, which is very balanced, and because we're not a complete bot, we hit this guy on the move, which is nice. using the free aim, and I always recommend people to try and learn how to free aim in this game if you are thinking about trying to get better. It's a really good way to get an extra couple of shots, and you can also avoid missing shots and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, you can also auto aim, but when you're firing at certain vehicles, it's just never going to hit. If they're fast moving, you are never going to be able to hit them on the move, because when you auto aim, it aims for the center of mass, if you didn't already know, which means that as soon as you fire, it's aimed for the center of mass at the point at which the tank was previously. So as soon as they move half a tank's length in front of where they are, which if they're on the move they're gonna be, then it's gonna just miss. It's gonna land behind the tank because they've already moved past the point at which they're gonna get hit. So you have to aim in front, you have to lead your shells, which I'm sure like 90% of you know that, but very few actually put it into practice. And in fact, you can use one really good technique in order to get more damage from those scenarios by actually waiting for an opponent to make a beeline directly away from you in a straight line. Now, if they do that, you can fire using your auto aim. You kind of have to wait though. So if you are in a position where you don't have time to fully aim or actually look down the scope, or use your free aim or something, maybe it's a bit of a kind of a tough shot to hit, then yeah, you can use essentially the auto aim when they're looking directly at you or directly away from you, and you can wait for them to do that. Now this T58 Heavy's got a little bit of a stiffy for coming towards me, so I'm not going to expose myself to him, because you never know, that's probably going to end up pretty badly. So we get one into him anyway, and we can potentially crest this ridge. Now we spot him again. Hopefully our teammate is going to be able to finish him off. If not, we can do that, hopefully, but he does get taken out. At this point I'm moving up. Maybe we can get a bit of a shot of damage on the last remaining vehicles. There's a medium, there's also a tank destroyer. Given the fact that I haven't seen this tank destroyer, and I'm pretty sure no one has, we see our teammate get hit by said vehicle, and he gets hit in the side, which means that the tank destroyer is over to the left. And so we make a beeline for this tank destroyer, not only to potentially get some damage on him, but also because we might be able to get some spotting on him, and if we can do that, that will be nice as well. So we do actually spot the UDES, but he's on basically no health. So I believe that there's another vehicle over here, so we keep on going, and I'm pretty sure that there was an STRV lurking around here, and oh look, a STRV gets spotted. And this is what I mean about choosing when to auto aim. So here we're very easy to auto aim him. He's in siege mode. It takes ages for them to be able to turn, and when we're this close it doesn't matter. We go for the shot into him and then ram into him for an extra bit of damage and to finish him off for 5,500 damage in a pretty nice game where we went kind of aggressively throughout this game. So yeah, worked out pretty well, and the WZ-120 does it quite nicely with that high alpha. And during the period of time that we were playing, we had this silver with interest operation, so we made a nice little 800k when we got ourselves the 121B. But this isn't the only aggressive game that we played in the WZ-120, because this tank, as I said, very good at being able to do it with its high alpha. You can trade with a lot of heavies actually in the game, which is really nice. Like a lot of tanks, they typically don't have that ability, especially if you're playing in some of the British mediums. You really have to wait for an opponent to fire at one of your teammates or make a misplay and then you pounce on them. This one you can kind of try and block a few shots, use the side armor, side scrape against them, attempt to do that, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But for this game, we're going to see what happens when it does. So at this point, I'm deciding maybe we can make a bit of a push towards the opponents. There doesn't seem to be anyone here. It's a bit risky to try and go into the center at the beginning of the game, since you never know if there's going to be a tank destroyer sat there waiting for you as you come around that corner. But luckily for us, there isn't, and we can get into the center pretty safely. We've got quite a lot of team support in the center, which is nice, and that means that we're not really gonna not know if someone ends up coming from behind us. Now we get here to be able to try and spot for our team and also get some free shots of damage on tanks that get spotted either by me or by one of my teammates. Now there's a Chrysler K here who's given himself the side directly to me, so that's always nice. And then we find ourselves some a Senjutsu, and with the 340 heat pen that this gets, it's ridiculous. Like, you can genuinely pen almost everything, even if you're aiming at turrets of some of the mediums in the game. Now, as we get here, there's a Progetto. Can we get one into the side of him? Of course, we can hit him, but it doesn't pen. As I'm saying about how ridiculous the pen is, we don't pen. Fantastic, brilliant one, Wargaming. But we do manage to hit him with the second one, and that definitely pens the side of the turret. Now, there's a Bourrasque and a medium over here, so we're a little bit careful about what we're going to do. There's an IS out in the open. There's also plenty of other vehicles over on their kind of camping hill that we're most likely going to be able to try and deal with in the later stages of the game. There's a tank destroyer, an Su-101, who's actually pushed up towards our teammate, but he's on the lower end of the kind of way up onto the center of the map, so we don't have to worry about him. And so we go for the Senjutsu here, who we managed to catch out in the open, which is nice. Finish him off, get as many guns out of the game as we possibly can, and then we can make our magic happen, hopefully, during the rest of the game. But the Su-101 starts making his maneuvers towards the center, or at least it looks like he's going to try and make some maneuvers towards the center. We end up proxy detecting him, which means that we were just close enough to find out where he was. After you get within, I believe it's something like 20 meters or 25 meters of an enemy tank, you will automatically spot them, which is always good, something you can use, and you can keep people lit up for extra spotting damage. But we get into this little spot, which is nice, as we can catch out all of the people who are going to try and progress towards our cap circle, and they are trying to progress towards that cap circle indeed. The Patriot obviously overcommitting over here, and we can hopefully get a final one into him to take him out. Can we do it? Artillery is looking at us, so we need to be a bit careful. We don't want to get penned by him, and luckily we don't. But there is still the game looking like it might be a loss, because, you know, there's plenty of health on the enemy team, but there's also plenty of tanks on the enemy team, and our team aren't looking too hot right now. But with the Centurion 7/1 making a move up towards our teammates, we've been able to just farm him from behind. This is like the ultimate kind of reward for playing a bit aggressively in the beginning, because you can find spots like this which just feels super nice. And there is a WZ-111-14 who's of course pushing towards the center, and we know that we can come up from behind him. There's a lot of cover when we move up from here from the enemy team, since they are essentially all going to be behind the rock to our right here as we move up. And this guy's a one shot, so we should be able to finish him off. Once again, probably should actually aim this shot, but we do bounce it, so, you know, I get a little bit lucky in this game, but, you know, we should be aiming those, so, you know, that's my bad. That was a bad play. But there is a tank destroyer trying to deal with one of our boys. It's the Su-101 that we saw earlier in the game, and he still hasn't been taken out. But don't worry, let's try and make a difference to that. We've still got full health in this part in the game, so I'm pretty happy about how it's gone. But with the Su-101 holding up our team, and with the game wanting to be progressed, we're happy to take a shot here if he can hit us. You never know, he does actually hit us in the back end, but we go right past him. No point in stopping in front of him. We might as well go all the way around. He either has to turn for me or turn for our teammates, and he decides to turn for the teammates, which is fine. Gives us a little bit of extra damage from that trade. So nice to see. The Bourrasque is obviously trying to move. We go for a blind fire. He hits us but doesn't pen. I would have been triggered if he managed to hit us on the move there, but he doesn't manage to. And then he's deciding to go through the open area of the map. We're going to go for a lead shot here. Hopefully we should be able to hit him, and of course my bot aim manages to miss him quite easily there. But let's go towards him, find out where the rest of the enemy team are. There's a few TDs left, which yeah, maybe they'll feature in the later part of this game. But we've dealt 3.8k damage. We've got 5 enemies taken out within this game, so it's a fairly decent one. There's still that damage left to be had. Yeah, it should be pretty decent. So given that there's a lot of enemy tanks going to be camping, I decide let's just try and get some spotting damage. I'm hoping that, given I've got, you know, 1300 hit points, we should be able to be alright. We are making it a bit difficult for the IS to hit us here by just moving side to side as we're kind of snaking our way towards him, as it makes our armor a little bit harder to hit. The Bourrasque is still alive, being a nuisance, but we're going to go towards this IS. Hopefully we'll get one into him. And of course, yes, my aim. What am I doing? Come on. Why am I missing these shots? And then, what am I doing here? I go to fire. It doesn't actually fire. Don't know what was happening there. I am playing like an absolute buffoon. And then, of course, there's the Waffle Panzer IV somewhere lurking about, and he's trying to escape like the little rat that he is. And then, yeah, we push up. We've done 4.5k damage. We picked up 1,500 assistance as well, and blocked nearly 1,100 as well. And a bit more assistant comes in as they hit some of those boys. But yeah, not a bad game so far. 6 enemies taken out, and maybe we can make it 8 if we can finish off the artillery, or maybe one of these tank destroyers. So yeah, let's make our way up to this location. There's a super Hellcat, but this is where the gun depression of this tank sucks. 5 degrees makes it difficult to use. It's just a pain in almost every regard. Now, I know that I might get hit by a Waffle here. I'm not expecting that I won't be able to spot him, and in fact, he's actually stays undetected even when he fires. So yeah, that surprised me that was even possible, but then again, it's a German TD. What am I expecting? But we move down over here. He hits us with the 15, which is just fun. We put one into him, making it difficult for him to really do anything. He's going to have to YOLO down. The team don't manage to hit him, but we've got to poke this to deal 1 to him, because he looks like a bit of a YOLO wagon, and a YOLO wagon indeed he is. And so we pull around here. We get this little wreck in the way, and then he manages to hit us anyway. Fuming. But the Waffle does end up being taken out alongside the Super Hellcat and the M12 on the enemy team. We don't manage to get any more damage than what we did. 5.2k with 1,700 assistance, which is what, 6.8 thousand combined damage, which is a very, very good game. And we can skip ahead to the results screen here as the team end up winning. And there you go, victory. We managed to come top with 1,885 base XP, 6 enemies taken out, 6.8k combined, 755,000 silver from the silver with interest, and yes, making our way thoroughly towards the 121. And in fact, I think this game we ended up actually being able to make our way quite considerably with 14k XP. So a nice one. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, like it, and of course subscribe down below if you aren't already and you want to see some more. And these videos on screen right now will be really interesting and similar to this one if you're interested. See you there. Goodbye.